Hello, Kirk. This is your dad speaking. Today is Sunday, June 26th, 1994. Everyone's at church, so I'm going to make a tape, at least begin a tape for you. Kirk, I'm so grateful that I'm able to give you this tape. Sometimes I wondered if I would come home from the hospital with my life. But fortunately, the Lord has preserved it. And I'm very grateful to be able to make a tape for you today, Kirk. So I've certainly enjoyed your letters, particularly the parts of concerning me and your faith and assurance that all would be well. Your words of counsel were very helpful, are still very helpful. As you probably already know, I came home from the hospital on Wednesday after 5 days of surgery. The doctor informed me that I would probably be in the hospital for 7 days, but fortunately I was able to leave earlier, which I was very grateful for. I was ready to come home by the 5th day, and as the patient progresses, less attention is given to him by the nursing staff. And by Wednesday afternoon, I was pretty much on my own. I guess they can sense the needs of a patient and respond accordingly. Certainly the first 2 or 3 days were very attentive by the staff. And I certainly can't fault them. They did a great job, and they were very helpful and very encouraging. Particularly the operation itself, the preparations that went in before surgery were very well done professionally. We went into the hospital on Friday, had to be there by 11:30. Of course, like every place, you have to wait and wait and wait. Things moved rather slowly, but by about 1:15, things began speeding up. I was taken to the area where they prepare the patients for surgery. I walked down the hall for several feet, went into a preparatory room where they had 4 different beds, and I think there were 3 or 4 patients being readied for surgery or some particular aspect of surgery. I had a 4-member surgical team or anesthesiology team that came to my attention. There was, of course, the nurse who was responsible to be with me at all times. There were 2 anesthesiologists and 1 student nurse who was observing and learning how to be an anesthesiologist. I guess she was probably a medical student. The anesthesiology team consisted of 3 female members and a male staff member. They were very young, very knowledgeable, and very reassuring. Of course, I had told them before that I was very nervous about undergoing anesthesiology and the terrible experiences I had before as a child, teenager. Of course, they assured me that that was 40 or 50 years ago and that things had changed dramatically during that period of time. And it would sort of be like a piece of cake. Of course, it's easier for them to say than it is for the patient to understand. But they were very, very accommodating and told me everything they were going to do and when they were going to do it and what happened and so forth. Of course, you have to be put asleep for a surgery that takes as long as mine did, and to have complete muscle relaxation, which was necessary. So, of course, this involves intubating the person, meaning putting a tube down the throat to maintain respiration during surgery, and they agreed that they would not do that until I was asleep. They also agreed that they would not put any kind of mask over my nose until after I was asleep. And they faithfully observed that requirement because I noticed as something was happening towards the end, one of the anesthesiologists said, "No, wait." And after that, I was gone. I didn't know anything about it. I was gone. Prior to that, of course, he had put several tubes into my arm, one for intravenous feeding and the other into the artery for blood transfusions. The one into the artery, of course, was much more difficult, and they decided they would wait and do that until I was asleep, which was very helpful to me. Less stress to have to deal with. But by about 1:45, from 1:15 to 1:45, I was in the preparatory room, and then I was wheeled into the operating room. And the last I remember seeing while on the clock was about 1:45. Apparently everything went well. The operation was performed very successfully. The preliminary pathology report indicated that the lymph glands were free of any kind of malignancy, and thus they proceeded to perform the prostatectomy. Although I was in the surgery for 5.5 hours, I understand that it did not take 5.5 hours of continuous work. They apparently suspend the operation after they remove the lymph nodes to await the pathology department to determine if they were positive or negative, and if they're, of course, negative, they proceed with the operation, which they did. I was under for, I guess, 5.5 hours, according to what the doctor said, and I was in recovery for 2 after that. Betty was there. I don't remember all of that, but she said she and the doctor were there, and I vaguely remember them saying something that everything went well and so forth. And the last hour, I think Betty was in recovery with me, and I was more or less awake. And then towards the end, I was quite alert. I remember they're taking me down the hall to the elevator and up to my room. And I think I got into the room about 9:30 or 10 o'clock that night. So from about 1:15 or 1:30 to about 9:30, I was in various stages of the operation. 8 hours is a long time to be in that situation. They gave me some epidural, they call it, for pain management. That is, using a needle into the epidura of the backbone. And I was able to be very alert after the surgery and feel wonderful. In fact, I called my office on Saturday and called several other people, and they couldn't believe that I had just had surgery. And it was wonderful. They preferred that I use the epidural approach for pain management versus the pump type in which morphine is used. They prefer not to use morphine because that affects the mind, and there certainly was no affecting the mind in this particular phase of the surgery. Of course, the first 2 days were nice because of the epidural, but by Sunday night they decided they needed to take it out. And so that night I slept fairly well, but Monday and Tuesday were rather stressful days. They insisted that I begin to take water and to eat a light meal. Nothing, of course, tasted very good, but I considered it medicine, so I did my duty. By Tuesday afternoon, they came in and gave me some big pills to increase my potassium in the blood, and they were gigantic. And I said, "How am I ever going to take these?" And they said, "Take them." So I dutifully did, and as a result, I started a series of hiccups. I don't know if those pills caused it or what trauma occurred, but for the next 24 hours I was taking some medication to keep the hiccups down. Fortunately, hiccups didn't affect the incision, and it wasn't painful to hiccup. It's just very, very tiring and very emotionally draining to go through those hiccups. But by 24 hours later, it was fine. And by Wednesday morning, things looked very, very encouraging. They told me on Monday that probably I would go home in a couple of days. And I didn't believe them because I didn't feel like anything to move on Monday and Tuesday. But by Wednesday morning, I felt very, very good. I had begun to pass gas and to get the intestinal tract back and moving, and they were waiting for that to occur. And once that occurred, they said, you can go home. So in the afternoon, Wednesday afternoon, I went home. It was great to get out of the hospital. It was a bit difficult to get home. It was stressful, and I was very tired when I got home. And it's been since then that I've sort of been lounging around the house doing nothing, get very tired. But tomorrow the staples come out, and that should help sitting and bending a little bit. Right now I can't bend, and if I drop something on the floor, I have to ask somebody to pick it up for me. Your self-sufficiency becomes somewhat limited as a result of these situations. The pathology report, final report, indicated that there was some evidence in some of the tissue that was taken out, which means that it was not contained completely within the prostate. I don't know what this means exactly. I hope it doesn't mean anything. I hope that miraculously the tumor was removed completely and that I will be able to be free of this problem. Bishop McBride gave me a wonderful blessing before I went into surgery. He mentioned something which I didn't quite understand, but perhaps it had to do with the fact that he said that the surgeons would do things that they didn't realize that they could do and would be guided by higher powers. Perhaps that relates to this experience. I just hope and pray that there'll be a full recovery and that all will be well and my life will be prolonged. Kirk, please keep me in your prayers. When you come home, I want you to give me a blessing. I know that when missionaries in the field, families are tremendously blessed. I'm sure that we have been blessed. Sometimes I wonder why all these trials and tribulations have to come. If they had to come, I'm glad it's happened. You've been serving in the mission field. I'm very proud of you, Kirk, and serving as a missionary, and eagerly await your letters and read them with great interest. I'm sure you've had a great experience, and I'm sure your last month will even be greater than your other months. Enjoy it, because time will move so quickly. You won't realize what's happened during the last month. You'll be home and be back in the civilian life. You're going to miss the Spirit of the Lord's being so close to you. Will probably never be like that the rest of your life. So enjoy your mission. The bishop's already informed us that your farewell will be on the 14th of August. He wants you, your mother, and me to speak. I'm sure that we'll be very, very brief, leaving all the time to you, because I really want to hear your message and to feel your spirit. During these last 8 months have been very, very difficult, very trying to undergo this, and I felt the Spirit of the Lord near unto me like I've never felt it perhaps before, except in the mission field. Of course, I've also felt the adversary's influence as well, giving me discouragement, things like that, the negative aspects. But certainly, these blessings I've had have been very remarkable, very helpful, and very stimulating. I'm certainly grateful for the Lord and for His love and His concern for me. I just hope to have the faith that I can continue to heal and be freed of any kind of problems in the future. I guess the next big obstacle will be have the catheter removed, which I think is scheduled for July 8th. Bishop McBride has indicated he wants to give me another blessing just before that happens, because this is where the urinary situation will get back into in sequence, and hopefully the muscles that are remaining will take over and be able to control the flow of liquid and so forth. That's one of my great concerns, that I will not become incontinent as a result of this surgery. I have faith that things will go, and I'm sure they will. It's just trying a difficult time at this juncture of my life. We're eagerly awaiting your return, Kirk, as we've mentioned. We're very proud of you. Grateful for all that you've done for us. That phone call that you heard in the background was from one of the staff members at the office, Leslie Zark. I don't know if you remember her. She's one of my colleagues. We're at the same level. And she called, and we spoke for about a half an hour. Everyone was very concerned about the operation at the office. It's amazing how many people are interested in one's being and concerned about things. The whole staff was over there on Tuesday and Wednesday. Even from other departments of the office, they came in. The Assistant Secretary General, whom I've worked with over the past few years, even telephoned and expressed his interest and concern. In fact, he's now the Secretary General, Acting Secretary General, since the change of administration occurred last Monday. So I've been very encouraged by the amount of support from the office and their interests and concerns. Even the ward has been following my progress and interested in developments. It's nice to have friends during these times of stress and tribulation. The weather's been very, very hot during the first part of June. We've broken records. Degrees, number of days over 90 degrees have been broken. Those records have been broken. Still very, very hot. We have summer, of course, now, June 21st arriving. That means you have winter. I much prefer this hot weather to your winter. And I suspect you'll come back in the heat of the summer and be able to enjoy a few hot days as well. Fortunately, it has rained several times during the hot season, and it's kept things green. Otherwise, we would be in a terrible situation. I don't know if it's rained sufficiently for the crops to mature, but at least our yard looks very green and beautiful. And Stephen has to cut the grass weekly. That's now his task. Of course, I'm no longer able to do those kind of things for the rest of the season. So he is taking care of the yard and so forth. I believe your mother has written about the shed and the episode we had there. One of the projects which we sort of have in mind for you, Kirk, when you come home, is to rebuild the shed. Apparently you won't have too much time to work, so you just as well do some housework around here that needs to be done. And this is one project we've sort of been saving for you, Kirk. So we'll have to get the shed, and you and Stephen kind of build it for us. I think Heckinger's has some interesting sheds that can be put together rather rapidly and easily. Anyway, there's one project you may want to be thinking about for us, Kirk. Stephen is very eager to have you home. He idolizes you very much. He talks about you quite a bit, and he thinks the world of you. He'll be very happy for you to get home and to do things with him, because we haven't been able to do those things with him that ordinarily we would do, I guess. At least I won't be able to this summer. So you're going to have to substitute for me while I convalesce. I understand that we have lots of farewells and welcome homes scheduled for July and August. In fact, there's so many that the Probst will be doing double duty. Peter will be coming home, and at his homecoming at the same day and same time, Matt will be leading. So it'll be a homecoming and a farewell at the same time for the Probst. The medication I'm taking, Kirk, causes my mouth to be very dry. So if I don't quite sound normal, you'll know the reason why. Also, after the operation, the voice box apparently was somewhat not injured necessarily, but I mean, just was something happened to it, so I couldn't speak very well after the operation. But that only lasted a couple of days. Another thing I'm contending with is my left arm. Although I told them that I was left-handed and I would prefer to have the needles in the right arm, they still did it in the left. And as a result, there is some kind of numbness in the fingers. But they understand that that is due to the fact that I was probably having a pinched nerve while I was lying on the operating room table. They said in a couple of weeks that should be finished. Tiger has been giving me lots of company. He likes to be outside at night, but during the day he likes to come in on the bed and curl up and snuggle up by me. So he's been a nice companion for several days. He certainly is a person cat. He likes to be around people. Well, I think I probably talked sufficiently, Kirk, and brought you up to date on developments, and we are eagerly awaiting your letters, as we've mentioned before. I'll let other members of the family speak on the tape, and then we'll get it in the mail, so you can get up to date on the latest information from Fairfax. So for now, so long, Kirk, and keep me in your prayers, and I know that all will be well as a result. I'll see you later. Bye.
Kirk, this is Stephen. Yesterday I was in an A meet. It was the first meet. We lost, but we won almost all the relays, except for 2. And all the 8 and unders DQ'd in the relays.
Good morning, Kirk. Today is Monday the 27th. It's good to have your dad back home with us. He does go into the doctor this afternoon to have these staples removed from his incision, and he's excited about getting those out. He's hopeful that he can be able to get up and down more comfortably once these staples are removed. Every time he moves, they run into him. And when he tries to wear any kind of clothing tied around himself, they get snagged on the staples. And so that's a challenge that he's going to be glad to be rid of. Things are going very well here. Your dad is recuperating nicely, and I think he's, at least as doing as well as the doctors expected, maybe even a little bit better. He, of course, has normal discomforts that everyone would, and recuperating from this kind of surgery and some of the common kinds of complaints that people would have. But as far as the medical things, it's going very well. We had excellent meetings at church yesterday. Today is the 150th anniversary of the martyrdom of Joseph Smith, and all of the meetings yesterday were about the prophet Joseph Smith and prophets. We had this high school age singing group, Voices of a New Day, singing during our sacrament meeting. They sang a number of hymns about Joseph Smith and the restoration of the gospel, as well as quoted some scriptures and some other spoken word, and then Bishop McBride gave a talk on Joseph Smith. It was a very nice evening. Then in the evening last night, there was a fireside broadcast from Carthage. I assume that you did not receive that direct by satellite in Chile, like they did here at the church. I decided to go on over since, Charlene and Gary would be here to be with your dad. It was an excellent evening. Elder Ballard spoke, and President Hinckley, and then President Hunter. President Hunter did a very nice job. You can tell that he's weak, but his mind is strong, and he obviously is the person that the Lord wants to lead the church right now. It was good to hear him, and our building was quite crowded, well back into the cultural hall. I think a lot of people had anticipated that President Hunter would be speaking, and this would be a chance that they would have to hear him. I've written a letter as well. I wrote it yesterday morning, and it's hard to know what I said in a letter and not repeat myself with what I'm saying to you right now. So I just wanted to let you know that everything's going fine. We're doing well. We're anxious to hear from you. We haven't really received a letter since you arrived at your new assignment. We got the address on the outside of the pardon me, I started to cough. Your address was on the outside of the last letter you sent, but we haven't heard anything about your new area, your companion, or about what that particular area of the mission is like. It's interesting that she would be again south even of Rancagua. We located this city on the map, and so we're anxious to hear about it. Well, take care of yourself, trust in the Lord, and work hard. And I know the Lord will bless you with His Spirit and help you to find those to teach who are searching for the gospel. This is an important work that you're doing, and we're proud of you for it. We're glad that you have the opportunity to share the gospel with others. It's a real awesome responsibility to spread the gospel to the nations of the world. Well,